Hey, Facebook. Come on in the room. This is my midweek elevator. This is my, these are the messages that I like to give you guys each week, just to kind of elevate your week, to take it up a notch. So this week's midweek elevator is Grace Under Fire. You got this. And I'm talking to you about being gracious to people and how to do that, how to be gracious to yourself in situations that challenge you. Because you know what, you're going to face some situations that that challenge you to the point of wanting to lash out. And you probably have the right to lash out sometimes. But I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. Grace Under Fire. You got this. You're going to face these situations. It's going to feel like life is tearing you up, burning you up. Sometimes it feel like you're in the fire, the wilderness, you're in conflict with people. People are in conflict with you. And I want to talk about a situation that happened to me. I don't want to talk about the situation, but I'm going to reference the situation and how I am handling it. So last week, something happened whereby I left the conversation in absolute tears. I mean, crying. I cried as I left the conversation. And as I left the conversation, I began to think about, there's a way to handle every single instance of anything that comes to us. There's a way to do it. There's a good way to do it, and there's a not so good way to do it. There's a productive way to do it, and then there's a non-productive way to do it. Hi, Tangela and Kathy. How are you guys doing? There's a way to handle stuff. So Grace Under Fire, this week's midweek elevator is about grace. You got this. So in that particular instance, I wanted to lash out. Hi there, Dorothy Bell. I wanted to lash out. Hey, I wanted to lash out. I'm telling you, I did. I absolutely wanted to lash out. I did. Even with everything that I know, I wanted to lash out. But I thought in the midst of it, because my intentions were right, I pulled back from lashing out. And I began to think about all of those things that I had learned. Hey there, Joe Park. I began to think about all those things I had learned along the way. The first thing I want to say, in having grace under fire, you need poise. Why you need poise is because usually when conflict first occurs, when a misunderstanding happens, when your life begins to take on a different energy than what you were previously involved in, the first thing that happens is your emotions begin to become unbalanced. There's a level of balance that you lose when you first are punctured by an unexpected circumstance. And so you're going to have to balance your emotions, balance your mind, balance your perspective, maintain your composure. That was the first thing I had to remember to do. And so I began to do some self-talking, like, okay, let's step back and assess the situation for what it is, see what's actually going on. As I begin to do that, I begin to seek wise counsel. I needed wisdom. Step number 2 is that you need wisdom. You don't need people in your ear who are going to be hype people saying, yeah, just go in and fight, go in and go power drive them to the floor. You don't need all that. What you need is someone in your ear, or a group of people in your ear who are wise counsel for you, who you consider to have their finger on the pulse of good information. Good information is information that challenges you and stretches you to be the bigger person, to go forward, to go further than just the initial conflict. That is correct, Kathy. You need a power circle. You need a group of people who you can talk to, who are not so for you that they don't see where you need to go. And what I mean by that is that you need people who are friendly towards you, but also challenge you. Also challenge you to go further, stretch you, extend your reach, extend your eyesight, what you set your eyes on, what you set your heart on, give you a better perspective, a mature perspective of whatever you're going through. And so thank you, Joe. Thank you. Yes, you need a power circle, a wisdom circle. I love those. I love those. I totally agree with seeking out the elders. I love having the elders around me, older people. They've already been there. They have the wisdom of their experiences pouring down in you. They can tell you some things and help you to avoid pitfalls. So after you have poise, the next thing you need is wisdom. And what happens with wisdom? One of the side effects of having wisdom is wisdom keeps you from destroying your personal brand, your personal standard of honor. I have a standard of honor, and I don't want to destroy it because of a moment, because of a thing that comes, a situation that comes to knock me off balance, knock me off kilter. I don't need my personal standard destroyed on somebody or something that is not even worth my time. What I want to do is process it effectively, process it wholly, and then move on to the next step. After you figure out who your wisdom circle is, or you figured out how the wise counsel should be applied to your life, you know that you're advancing in that because your emotions are no longer wholly involved. It becomes an issue of logic. What are the next logical steps to take after you have experienced a situation that has jolted you? And then if you stay emotional about it, it will inhibit your growth. It will prohibit you from growing if you remain in your emotions. So we have to come out of our emotions. We have to come out of that space that says, oh, I feel. We have to move from I feel to this is the way it is. So if this is the way it is, how do I deal in the best way possible that really allows my witness and my testimony to remain intact, that allows my honor to remain intact, that allows my self-respect to remain intact? Because if people are always pulling you from your level of your self-respect and your sense and standard of honor, you have to question who you really are and what your standard truly is. Everybody shouldn't be able to pull on you like that. Every situation should be able to pull on you like that. You're greater than what than some of the interactions you have happen to you. Also understand that truth is absolutely important. I know we don't like truth all the time, man. Truth is so important in this mix. Listen, you need people who will speak the truth to you in season and out of season. You need people to hold up a mirror to you and say, this is not right. I love you, but this isn't right. You're wrong right there, sister, or you're wrong right there, brother. This is not the way it should be. You can do better. I had to tell someone recently, you have greatness on the inside of you, but what you're doing does not reflect that greatness. And I would expect that same conversation in return. I expect that if I fall off and lose my mind and go crazy, I want y'all to come and girl, this ain't you. This is not you. This is not what God said you were to be. This is not what you have been presenting to us. I want you to be honest with me, because at the end of the day, we all have the propensity, have the opportunity to get off the track, off the beaten road. But then you need people to say, you know what, you're off the beaten road. You're off the beaten track. Come back together. Now, this is how you get back together. Sometimes you go so far off, you don't even know where the road is to get back sometimes. And then you need people who are honest around you, truthful, speaking truthful words to you and saying, no, this is how you get back. This is what you do. And sometimes that's you just being quiet, stepping back, looking at the whole picture and saying, you know what, being humble enough to say, you know what, they have my best interest at heart. They're not going to steer me wrong. And I know they're telling me the truth. I need to listen to them right now in this season. And so it involves, the truth involves your submission and your humility. So be prepared for truth. That's under point number 2, wisdom. And number three is learn the lesson. Listen, I'm not interested in just going through life just to go through life. Don't go through life just going through life. You're supposed to grow through life. You're supposed to produce through life. And you cannot produce if you're walking through life not learning the lessons. You must learn the lesson, people. Every situation presented to you, one of your first and primary questions should be, now, what is the lesson? When I had a coach, one of the things she would ask me initially all the time is, so what did you learn? And so I find myself asking myself, the question. So what did you learn? What did you learn? What did you learn? You should be learning something from every interaction, from every encounter, because these are assignments. People are assigned to our lives. Situations are assigned to our lives. And if you're not learning the lesson, it's a wasted lesson. It's a wasted lesson. And that means you're going to have to go through the lesson all over again. And so you want to learn the lesson, and that requires focus. Now, in the long road of having grace under fire, you're going to need focus, because on different days, you're going to feel different ways. You might feel real strong to be gracious in the first few days or the first week or the first month. But the longer the situation goes, sometimes it drags on your graciousness. But I implore you and encourage you to remain gracious, because you're the one that's on display. Your accountability, your standard, your honor, your self-respect, all of you is what's on display. And so I'm encouraging you to remain gracious under the fire of whatever that trial or circumstance is. So focus is going to be key and central. The other thing is that you have to forgive the other party, whoever that party is. I have learned so much, man. I'm gonna talk about it in my next week's midweek elevator. But I've learned so much on this trip here in Kansas City this time. So many interesting conversations have taken place, things I did not even plan on. But because I was sensitive, I was able to stay a little longer on this trip and get those conversations held. Now, I'm telling you, forgiveness is so key that let me say it like this. Unforgiveness will lock up the bowels of your future. What do I mean by that? Being in a state where you are unforgiving will cause everything to lock up in your life. You might look like you're progressing. You might look like you're moving forward, but you want to make sure that you're operating in forgiveness, because unforgiveness in one area will mess you up. I'm telling you, it might not seem like it initially, but you know in your heart. The Bible says it like this: the heart knows its own bitterness. You know in your heart when you hold something against somebody. You know in your own soul and mind what it's like when you really haven't forgiven someone. Forgive people, not because they deserve it. Forgive people because you need to be free. There's a level of liberality that you need to operate in. So forgive people, and then forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for whatever mistake you made, for whatever error you made, for whatever miscall and judgment that you made. Look, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive other people. Live free, walk free, fly free. Listen, I'm just determined. I don't know. I said it last week. I don't know how much time I got left here in the earth, but I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free of people, other people's issues. I'm going to be free of my issues. I'm not living the rest of my life bound and locked up. Remember, unforgiveness literally locks up the bowels of your future. So therefore, be free. So that's my midweek elevator this week. It's all about having grace under fire. And I'm reminding you, whatever the fire is that you are in, you got this. You have it. But there are some key things that you need to observe. And I found that these are the three things that really have helped me and continue to help me: poise, wisdom, and learning the lesson, so you don't have to repeat the cycle again. And so listen, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a lifelong student. That's right, Ian. Just be free. If you want to be free, you will be free. Some people don't like their free self, though. Some people don't really like their healed self. And so at the end of the day, if you want to be free, start with these three things. This is not all, but it's just a starter kit. It's just a starting space. So start with these three things. Have poise. It's so easy to snap on people. Next, have wisdom. Get some wise counsel. Get some wise information, some wise content flowing through your system. Because once you've been injured, I guarantee you your emotions are super high. The last thing, learn the lesson. When you learn the lesson, you can apply the lesson. This has been Catriese with Catriese Inspires, my midweek elevator. Let's just go up together. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.